So I wanted to start today with a quote, and that quote is from Eckhart Tolle's The Power of Now. Excellent book. If you haven't read it, you should. You need to. It's some essential reading. Change your mind about a lot of things, but here's the quote. Thinking has become a disease. Disease happens when things get out of balance. For example, there's nothing wrong with cells dividing and multiplying in the body, but when this process continues in disregard of the total organism, cells proliferate and we have disease. The mind is a superb instrument if used rightly. Used wrongly, however, it becomes very destructive. To put it more accurately, it is not so much that you use your mind wrongly, you usually don't use it at all. It uses you. This is the disease. You believe that you are your mind. This is the delusion. The instrument has taken you over. I love that quote, and it's so relevant for today's society. And the power of our thoughts are completely underestimated. Our minds are just completely bombarded with so many distractions and stimuli and this endless stream of thoughts that can lead us down a path of anxiety and stress and so much discontent. And so Tolle is just trying to shed light on the concept that thinking is basically a modern age disease. And basically, the mind, if it's not harnessed, can just lead to really, really negative states. So our thoughts basically have this potential to either elevate us or bring us down. And it's a really powerful instrument. And it can really help us in some ways to lead deeper into better understandings of ourselves and the world around us. But when our thoughts start to take over and control us rather than the other way around, we fall into a trap of self-destructive patterns and behaviors, as well as really limiting our beliefs. The awakening process involves breaking free from the identification with the constant stream of thoughts that run through our mind. So many of us are just trapped in this cycle of worry and overthinking, and you're constantly worried about the future, and then you're dwelling on the past. And these things do not serve us well at all. And all it basically does is create mental anguish and prevents us from truly living in the moment, which is now, which is all we ever have is right now. Um, and the key is basically just realizing that we are not our thoughts. It's very simple, but it's can be a very difficult thing because we have spent a lifetime identifying with them. So instead of allowing those thoughts to dictate our reality, we can basically create a sense of awareness and presence that basically ascends the chatter of the mind and basically stepping back and then observing our thoughts without the attachment to it. And then by doing that, we can start to basically break free from this grip of ego and connect to a deeper sense of self. So his teachings are important because it stresses the importance of mindfulness and living here in the moment. And by shifting our focus away from that total thought train of the past and future, we can basically experience a sense of peace and clarity that's often hard to come by without it. So practices such as meditation, breath work, and self-reflection, we can eventually begin to quiet this mind and tap into higher consciousness. The awakening process, it really is a journey. I've said it before. So many people have this sort of skewed idea of what it is. And a lot of people think that, it's just all enlightenment and happiness and, like I say, unicorns and rainbows. And this is pretty far from the truth. It actually requires a lot of courage, a lot of patience, and a willingness to confront these thought patterns that just don't serve us. And by doing that, we can start to unravel the layers of conditioning that have just shaped our entire belief structure and these perceptions of reality. So um basically, it's learning how to tame the mind and reclaiming your control over your thoughts. You can start to observe your thoughts with a new awareness, and then that allows you to break free from the whole overthinking, and you can start to sort of connect more with the stillness and the peace that is behind everything. So, like anything else, it's often just by taking small steps and getting used to the process, and then slowly but surely we can sort of pave a way for a more fulfilling and enlightened way of being. When we talk about the impact of thoughts and awakening, we're not referring to every passing thought that flits through our mind. Rather, it's the persistent stream of thoughts that we use as a reference point for our sense of self. These are thoughts that create a barrier between us and the world around us, basically putting us in this bubble. And by attaching ourselves to our thoughts, we inadvertently reinforce a false narrative that basically isolates us and perpetuates this cycle of problems and never ending anxieties. And boy, did I do that a lot. So, identifying with these incessant thoughts leads us to believe that we are, again, separate, and it also reinforces this disconnection and this contentment, and we sort of get trapped in this negative self-talk loop where we are continually beating ourselves up and comparing ourselves and have all these feelings of inadequacies. And this also contributes to a feeling of lack, where we just really never feel satisfied and we never really feel whole. Um, and that's exhausting. That is just really exhausting. It's debilitating. And it sort of creates this background hum of anxiety and dissatisfaction. And that just basically paints and colors our entire lives. And that's over everything. So if you're constantly dwelling on negatives and what ifs and poor me's, that's your life. And that's how you see everything. You reflect back. And the light, or should I say, reality reflects back to you that viewpoint of your life. Um, so our thoughts basically become the lens in which we see the world. And you can awaken. So that's what we're here to talk about. So what is the step? Like, where do we go? Well, first let's really delve into what a thought is. Um, Nobody really thinks about it very much until it's sort of pointed out. But do this little exercise and imagine describing what a thought is to someone maybe that never heard of what a thought is. What would you say to them? Um, a lot of people would come up and just say they're these sort of ideas, and they just come from nowhere and then disappear into nowhere, and that they never cease, and they just sort of come and go and come and go. And interestingly, it's been estimated that humans have up to 70,000 thoughts a day. 70,000 thoughts a day. And that is really interesting when you really break down thoughts. You can almost, looking at it from that perspective, you can basically see how ridiculous it is that we give them so much power, and how much we allow them to not only like create our reality, but tell us where we are in society and where we are in the world. So when you hear spiritual teachers talk about seeing through the veil or removing filters, it's these thoughts that they're talking about. And examples would be the I am this, I am that, uh, I am a failure. I am always failing. You immediately attach yourself to that belief and that thought. So, and then here's what's really interesting too is from the person that you were in your early upbringing all the way up to the present day, all that anything you believe yourself to be is nothing but a thought. Or it's a collection of thoughts. So the person that you believe yourself to be from your upbringing until now is nothing but a collection of thoughts. So think about that, because you are so attached and you identify with them so much, you take it as real. So one of the most effective ways to disassociate from thoughts is the practice of mindfulness. Mindfulness basically involves paying attention to the present moment, and then you basically don't judge others, you don't judge your thoughts, and you definitely don't attach to them. It's basically this neutral observer that watches them when they arise and when they come and go. And you can start to develop by doing this, develop a sense of um, detachment from them, and you don't feel so connected to them, and they don't feel so much a part of you. And there's mindful meditation in particular, and that can be a really powerful tool as well for disassociating from thoughts and connecting with our inner self and our inner being. So again, focusing on the breath, focusing on bodily sensations, these also help anchor ourselves in the here and now, in the present moment, and they create some distance from that mental chatter. Another strategy that we can use is basically activities that promote mental clarity and focus, such as yoga or Tai Chi, or basically sports in general. A lot of people talk about being in the zone when they're in certain sports, and that's because they're not worried about what they have to do tomorrow. They're not worried about what's for dinner. They're not worried about if they put gas in their car. All they are is in the exact present moment. They are on that field, they are on the ice, and they know that nothing else is important and everything else just disappears. So that's basically what happens when you're not obsessed with thoughts. Um, Also, spending time in nature is also a great way to ground yourself and to put yourself in the now and to help sort of separates yourself from thought. And nature just has this amazing grounding and calming effect on the mind. So, get out there and take a hike and go to, the park and go to the beach and go barefoot, man. Put your bare feet in the grass, and you would be amazed at the difference in the calmness that you can get just by doing that. So other things we could do is like journaling, some therapy, self-reflection. All these things can help you with this journey of disidentification from thought. And when you do this, and it's very personal and it's an ongoing practice, and it does require patience and discipline, and but it really will take you to some inner depths of your being, and you will notice the change. You will notice the peace that starts to come when you are not constantly in your mind and constantly obsessing about the things that basically are always out of our control. And when we do this, we can access deeper dimensions of ourselves, and we can live life with greater clarity, presence, and authenticity. So I hope this chat helped a bit. And if you have any comments, leave them below. And remember to subscribe and like, and I will see you again soon. Hi, everyone. Thanks for watching the video. Remember to subscribe and like, and I'll see you next time.